Well, hello everyone. Um, Welcome to CSF Scholarship New Student Orientation. It's a little bit early. I think there's 44 of us already logged in, but we're supposed to be 200. So we're going to give people a little bit of time to join us. In the meantime, just keep chatting on the chat. It's awesome. I'm loving the conversations. If you don't have your name on your little square, please make sure to change it so that we can keep track of who's attending and who's not, which is something important to do. And we'll just wait until more people join us, and then we'll get started. Welcome again. Okay, we're not all here yet, but I want to honor your time. It's 5:30, and I know that probably you're all getting hungry and wanting to just start unwinding for this evening. So I want to welcome you again. My name is Maria Rebecki, and you and I have been communicating for months now. I'm the Director of Scholarship Services, and I will be your financial aid advisor for the remaining of your education. My colleague Carrie, who is another person you may have been communicating, is out sick today, unfortunately, so you won't get to see her face and meet her today, but you will in subsequent times. I want to, before we start with the whole welcoming and everything, I want to invite another colleague of mine, which many of you will be working with, and her name is Anna. And I think I saw you joined us. So if you
I'm
want
here.
to, yes, if you want to introduce yourself to this wonderful group of new scholarship recipients, please go ahead.
It's so nice to meet so many of you. My name is Anna Bennett. I work on the L1000 scholarship specifically, and it's my role to fundraise for that scholarship. So making sure that there are donors that are excited to give to such an amazing opportunity, and also to connect the scholars with the donors for lunch. I try to do it at least once during your time in college. If we can handle doing it more than once during your time at college, that is great. But really, it's an opportunity for them to get to know you. They're investing in your future. They want to get to know you and understand what your hopes and dreams are. And it's an opportunity for you to network and meet them. I always think of these meetings as opportunities for you to think and learn about a different career path that maybe that you hadn't thought about or that you are thinking about. Sometimes we connect you with a donor who is specifically interested in the career path you are choosing. So I'm excited to make these introductions and make these connections. This is my daughter, Etta. She was joining us for the call as well, having a little dinner. And if you have any questions, I'm going to put my email into the chat. Um, I will also be nudging you if you don't fill out your thank you notes at the end of every year for the donors. So they really do read those. They really are excited to get to know who you are, hear about your time. And so I will nudge you for that as well.
Ada is excited too. We can hear her. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anna. Let me move on to the next slide and tell you a little bit about what you can expect today. So what we're going to do today is tell you a little bit about, CSF, in case we are new to you. I know that some of you in the call have been working with CSF for several years. For some of you, maybe it's just last year. And for some of you, this is going to be your first time working with us. I want to tell you about the resources that are going to be available to you as a CSF scholar and future alumni. I want to go over all the different scholarships so that you know the ABCs, the ins and outs, the fine print of your scholarships. And I should mention that today, there are students that are receiving the Leadership 1000 Scholarship, the Governor Scholarship for Foster Youth, the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship, and or the BCU Scholarship. So there are four groups of students, and I will be talking about all four different scholarships. I hope I don't confuse you. You will ask your questions, preferably in the Q&A rather than the chat, because I think that I may lose some of the questions in the chat. But if you keep them in the Q&A, when we get to the end of the presentation, I can go back and answer all of your questions. And then I'm going to give you some tips to succeed in college, and then there will be a time for you to also ask your questions live. So let's get started. So first again, an official congratulations. Take some time to really celebrate this amazing accomplishment, to celebrate you virtually on a job really well done. As I said earlier, you apply back in October, some of you, October 1st, right? And so we're finally getting to the final point where you've been selected and you're receiving the scholarship, and now you're headed into summer and preparing to start college next year, either for the first time or continuing, but with this new source of funding and with this new source of support for you, not just financial, but non-financial. And I will talk about it in a minute. We know that this year has been challenging in many ways for many of us in different ways. And so it's important to us to honor all of your hard work, your perseverance and dedication that has gotten you here, and also your enthusiasm. I mean, I'm reading on the chat how you're engaging with each other, how you're excited for your majors, you're excited to connect with one another, especially if you're headed to the same campus. So keep it going. I love that. Next, what I want to do, and before I start talking at you, is play a little video from some of your biggest cheerleaders who wanted to congratulate you and wish you all a warm welcome as a new CSF scholarship recipient. These are some of your donors and are professionals, right, that have read and scored your applications. So after them reading your applications, scoring them, and now you being a recipient, these are some of the messages that they want to convey to you. Please let me know if you can't hear the video. I'm going to try to turn up the volume, but if you can't hear, please let me know.
This year has been unpredictable. We know that this year has been challenging as classrooms emptied and school doors closed, and we transitioned into what we all call a new normal. COVID-19 has impacted us all in ways that we could not have imagined. With all the uncertainty in the world, we wanted to take the time to celebrate you. Congratulations and welcome. We are so honored to be a small part in your journey, and we had to take the time to celebrate you and all of your wonderful accomplishments. As many of you are celebrating your graduation or finishing up another year of school, we wanted to give you a message from your biggest cheerleaders.
Welcome and congratulations to the CSF scholarship recipients. I had the honor of reviewing some of these scholarship applications. You've shown that you deserve this scholarship by demonstrating your realistic self-awareness, your empathy for others, and tenacious grit for navigating challenges inside and outside the classroom. My words of advice is to keep up this hard work. We are so excited to see your continued growth, progress, and change because you are the future.
It is very exciting that you are a scholarship recipient. I know it took hard work and determination for you to get this award. You have many things to offer. The world is changing very quickly. We need young, bright minds such as yours to lead us into the future. Congratulations and enjoy your journey.
Congratulations on being selected for this year's scholarship program. Well done and welcome aboard. Getting a college degree must be one of the most fulfilling accomplishments in life. It opens up avenues to all kinds of paths for a successful and happy life ahead. We think every kid should have this opportunity, and we are willing to help as much as we can. Getting through college will not be easy, but you can do it if you have the desire, have a little bit of discipline, and make smart decisions along the way, including counting on those who are there to help you. You should know we'll be there rooting for your success.
I would like to add on a lighter note that you're going to have a lot of fun, trust me. And you're going to make lots of friends, some of whom are going to stay with you for the rest of your lives. Well, buckle up for an exciting ride ahead. Wish you all the best.
All the best indeed, and we hope to meet some of you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
First off, let me congratulate you on being awarded a scholarship this year and your selection to this incredible group of students. I believe the number one reason why I got involved with this organization is that an education really creates the foundation for an inspired life as an individual, yourself, as part of your community, and as part of the larger global world that seems to be shrinking and that we're all a part of. So congratulations, you've earned a spot in this year's cohort to go to the next place you get to be in your life, which is college. Now, I'm really excited for you because honestly, I wish I were in your place. I loved college. I went 100 years ago, and I can just remember being so excited about achieving my own independence and having the freedom to make my own decisions and really to become an adult. You are on your way right now to the future that you get to create. Believe in yourself always. Remember, your family, your friends are behind you. The infrastructure of a university or college will be behind you. There will be teachers and mentors, people who want you to succeed. You know, we all fail sometimes. Challenges in life, failures in life, situations in life. But we all have situations. So remember, it's not our situation that defines us, but it's the way you choose to handle it that will make the difference to you in your life, because you're singularly responsible for you in your life. Next, don't forget your dreams and never, ever give up on your dreams, because you don't want to give up on yourself. Work hard. You will never regret it. Giving that extra ounce of energy and spirit and commitment returns to you and accrues at a very large level. I look forward to hearing about your college success, and I'm very happy to be part of some measure of encouraging you and supporting you in that effort. Congratulations again. Now go for it.
Having read your words, the things that you shared in such a vulnerable, open, certainly gave us an incredible amount of hope and anticipation that we are in good hands as we look at you, the generation for the future, to help celebrate your accomplishments and your achievements. And yes, be there along the way as you struggle, as all of us do in our growth, in our development, and our development as human beings. Secondly, a piece of advice here that I would like to showcase, and I speak this from a place of being a parent as well, not only work in college admissions, but also have a parent, a son who's in college as a freshman and a daughter who's a high school senior, so going through this transition. Do trust the champions along the way. There are going to be many allies, people who are wonderful, who are here dedicated to the role and the craft of supporting you in your own personal growth. So do know that there are kind, good people to help you along the way and help lift each other up in that space as you too, with your peers, go through this whole experience. Do welcome you to support and lift each other up in this process. So as you go on, do know that we're going to be there helping celebrate you each and every step of the way. Do take care. Gracias todos. Be well. Bye.
All of you have overcome many obstacles to reach this point, and the lessons, strengths, and skills that brought you here will support you as you continue your journey. After reading your essays, I see that while all of us share the same drive to support our communities, you were able to turn those struggles into positive action. Within each of you lies a diamond resilience that keeps you going, even when the world throws you more than a fair share of punches. My words of advice are simple. Stay hungry. Keep exploring past your limits and create a version of yourself that builds on the giants before you. Don't stop at okay or good. Use your sharp hunger to continuously ask for more that will positively benefit the well-being of you, your family, and your community. My wish for you is that your hunger will drive you to shape an equitable world that's deeply rooted in caring for its people. That your hunger will lead you to never tire of tackling caustic systems that benefit a select few. The small steps that you take today impact your tomorrow. Again, thank you for allowing me to play a small role in your journey. Congratulations on a job exceptionally done. I can't wait to see all the wonderful ways that you continue to shape the world. This year has been
Well, that was great. I really loved some of the messages from your cheerleaders, right? Have fun, stay hungry. You learn more from failures than from successes. And failures happen to all of us, right? So don't be afraid. Know that you're supported by so many and that you only have to reach out in order to get that support. I'm sorry, those of you that didn't quite couldn't get the volume figured out. We're recording these. We'll send it to you. Hopefully, you'll be able to listen to it again, and have better audio then. Okay, I think that somebody needs to mute themselves, if you don't mind. Just check to make sure you're muted so that we don't hear the soundtrack you have behind you. Okay, so next, what I wanted to do was very quickly go over a little bit of the mission of College Success Foundation. I know that many of you are familiar with it, but I also know that some of you may not be. So here at CSF, we have individuals, advisors, coaches, of all sorts, right? That we're here to coach you and support you, and help you prepare for and graduate from college as the slide says, as a transformational leader, right? In whatever field of study you go, to make an impact on yourself, your families, your communities, the field of work you're going into. So today, as I mentioned, you'll learn a little bit more about the supports available to you to graduate from college and beyond. And again, we are so happy and honored to be able to walk this path with you. So thank you so much for inviting us. So having said that, let me go on to talk to you about the supports you can expect from CSF. So there are four basic categories of supports that we provide. One is financial support, right? And as I mentioned, is the scholarship support that you're getting, but we're going to get a little bit more into conversations about having access to a little bit of emergency funds for some of you, maybe a little bit more than others, depending on the program. We also have coaches and advisors, as I mentioned, who are trained to help you as you move along your education to build knowledge, behaviors, habits that are going to help you achieve your college goals. We also are going to help you connect, as Anna was saying earlier, right? To help you start building your network for your profession, for, potentially discovering new careers you hadn't considered. And so we're going to be there to provide you peer and campus resources via an online or group events. A lot of the programs that CSF will be offering, at least in these, as you transition to college or during this next college year, is going to be mainly remote, but we are working to see how we can expand that to provide some in-person support as well. And then the last piece is the skill building, right, for college and career success. So it's not just helping you get through college, but what happens after college, right? So we want to not wait until you graduate. We want to start building those, those skills, those abilities, those connections that are going to help you really transition well from college into your career. So that is what we're hoping to do. And so my question to you now, and I'm going to ask you to answer on the chat so that I can read it a little bit, is what are you thinking that is going to be the first thing that you need to do to get ready for fall term? So this summer, what are you going to focus on, and who can you reach out to for support? So let me know. Just type it in the chat and let me know what you think is your top one priority and who can help you. Don't be shy. Let me know what and who you're thinking of. Okay, I may need to do something here with the volume. Okay, let me see. Okay. Oh, I lost a lot. So great. Meeting with your advisor. Start planning what classes you're going to take. Orientation. Orientation on campus is crucial because that's where you're going to learn, right? What are the resources on campus? What are the clubs to start connecting and building, that community that is going to help you through tough times and pass on knowledge, right? Your peers are some of your best people in your corner to teach you, show you the ropes, right? how to succeed. It's great to have advisors, but your peers may have more knowledge and more tricks, right? And workarounds that maybe some of us in these positions. Let me get somebody on. Okay. Setting up a 4-year graduation plan. That is fantastic. Scheduling and balancing classes. Yes, that is going to be crucial. The first year, try not to take on too much, right? Because learning a new adjusting to a new academic rigor, adjusting to a new schedule can be daunting the first year. So don't overload yourself. As excited as you're going to be with all the resources and clubs and opportunities, try to pace yourself. Once you feel you have a good handle on your work, on your schedule, then start adding pieces and see how you do. Okay, but don't overwhelm yourself. Having the right classes, getting moved into my house on campus. Yes, on-campus housing is fantastic. Applying for jobs, applying for grad school eventually. Yeah, I hear a lot about class schedule. That is so important, right? So class is aligned with your major and, not picking 4 classes that are absolutely overwhelming is so important as well. This is great. I see that you're all prepared. So I'm really not that worried. I see that you have plans and you know what is important and that you know where to find that support. Thank you so much for sharing all these. I'm going to share all these messages with you after the presentation. So that's wonderful. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in a minute about some of the other supports you can count on. Okay, so this is a slide that is a little bit of a monster, okay? And I don't want to lose you or confuse you. So this is what I'm going to do because I have the 4 programs represented in this slide. I'm going to be calling each group first so that I can talk about that program and then move on to the next one, okay? Is that a deal? And please, if something is confusing, let me know. I want to ask you before I start talking again to check to make sure that you're muted because I can see that there's somebody that has their mic on and we can hear sounds in the back. Okay, so right now I'm going to talk to all of you who are recipients of the Leadership 1000 Scholarship. Okay, so I'm not saying that the rest of you should go off, and do something else, but this is what's important for Leadership 1000. So I don't want the others to get confused, so you can kind of passively listen to me. So all of you, all 1000 scholars, congratulations again. Here are some of the most important pieces of information for you to know about your scholarship. The award you're receiving is up to $5,000, right, per year. So that means that you may be receiving 5,000, you may be receiving 3,700 a year, 3,500, that 2,500, it varies. Now that full amount that I just told you, the 5, the 37, or the 35, or the 25, assume that you're enrolled full time. What that means is that if you're not enrolled full time, which is 12 credits or more, that amount is going to be adjusted to reflect if you're taking 9 credits, 10 credits, 6 credits, 3 credits, okay? So I want you to know that this yearly award assumes that you're enrolled full time each term. So if you're enrolled in fewer credits, that means that the amount is going to be adjusted. That's number 1. Number 2, the length of your award is for 4 years, okay? So as long as you don't use your whole award in 3 years, you have money for 4 years with the potential for applying for a 5th year. So those of you that are in STEM majors, for example, we know that it's going to take more than 4 years to graduate. You can apply for 5th year funding. It's not guaranteed and they're limited funds, but you can apply. You can request funds for a 5th year. The degree plan is that you are pursuing a bachelor's degree. So if your plan was just for a certificate or an associate's degree, unfortunately, this is not the scholarship. So if your plans have changed, please talk to me after the presentation today and we'll discuss what your options are. This scholarship requires that you have financial need. What that means is that your school is going to determine if you have enough financial need to accommodate your scholarship. What do I mean? What do I mean by enough need? So, and this is true for all scholarships. So if all the other individuals in the call are paying attention, please, it won't hurt you to hear it more than once. It means that each school, each financial aid office is going to develop what is called budget, right? For each one of you, no matter what scholarship you're attending, you're receiving, no matter what institution you're attending, they're going to develop a budget for you for each year you're enrolled in school. That budget is going to include tuition, fees, books, transportation, room and board, miscellaneous expenses, right? So let's say, just for the sake of clarity, that the budget for any one of you to attend college is $20,000 a year. If the school is offering you $20,000 already, so you're receiving exactly what the school is saying you're receiving, adding this scholarship is going to put you in a place of what I just described, which is you don't have need. You don't have enough room in your budget to add the scholarship. The federal regulation says you cannot receive more financial aid than what it costs you to go to school. I don't want to confuse you too much, but I want you to have this in the back of your mind in case you hear the financial aid office or us telling you, we cannot accommodate the scholarship within your budget. If that is the case, we are going to have a one-on-one. I'm going to explain it a lot more better, a lot better and a lot more in detail. And we'll actually be looking at your particular cost of attendance. We're going to see if we can appeal to the school, their resources, right? But I want you to be aware because this happens, and not just with our scholarships, but with any external scholarship you may be receiving. Okay. Summer funding. Let's move on to the next item of your scholarships. There's really no extra funding for summer, but what we can do is, if normally your award is $5,000 for a year for two semesters, right? So that would be $2,500 each semester. What we can do is split the 5,000 into 3 terms: summer, fall, and spring. And so you're going to still receive 5,000, but we're stretching the dollars to include a little bit of money for you in the summer. Okay. This again is true for all scholarships. If you are receiving the Leadership 1000, you are required to fill out a FAFSA or a WASFA every year. Okay. So you have to apply, and the financial aid office may tell us we cannot disperse their scholarship money because they haven't completed their FAFSA or their WASFA. So remember, you have to do this every year. This is also true for governors and the Martin Luther King Jr., not for BECU. Okay, let's talk about satisfactory academic progress. This is pretty much some measures that the federal, state, and institutions, so federal, state, and guidelines, and also the institution you'll be attending, have put together to track your progress towards your degree. So they're going to be looking at, for example, your GPA. Are you completing all the classes you're enrolled in every term? Are you completing all the credits you've been paid for with financial aid? Okay, so for these scholarships, you must comply with the satisfactory academic progress measures, or SAP, that your school has. So it's very important for you to familiarize yourself with those measures. Okay. Okay. Next, leave of absence. For all scholarships, if you notify us in advance, we can put your scholarship on hold for up to a year so that you don't lose it, right? We can put a hold on it and just disperse it when you come back to school. Emergency funds. Leadership 1000 has a little bit of money for emergency funds, not a lot, but you can always reach out to us. We'll talk about it. You'll complete an application. We'll review it and tell you if there are funds and if you qualify for emergency funds. And then for all programs, there is a renewal period between May 1st and June 30th every year. So every year you want to receive funds, you need to complete the renewal, complete that donor thank you note that Anna mentioned earlier, right? That the donors are very excited and expecting to receive it, anxious to read it. That's part of the renewal process. Okay, that is for L1000. I'm going to give the L1000 people a break, and I'm going to call all my governors scholars, okay, that are in the call. And I see that there are questions coming in the Q&A and in the chat. I promise I'll get back to you. Okay, governor scholars. Some of the things I mentioned earlier also apply to you. Depending on yearly, I'm going to start with a yearly award. Depending on the type of school you're attending, your award is going to be different. If you're attending a 2-year college, you're going to be receiving up to $2,000 a year. If you're attending a 4-year state school, $3,000. If you're attending a private school, it's going to be up to $4,000 a year. This assuming that you're enrolled full-time, right? If you're attending less than 12 credits, we're going to adjust the award to reflect the number of credits you're taking. So that's important. The length of your award is 4 years with the possibility of applying for a 5th year. So you're good, no problems there. Degree plan, you can be pursuing a certificate program, an associate's degree, or a bachelor's degree. No problem. There is no requirement like the Leadership 1000 for a 4-year degree. Financial need is the same explanation I gave earlier, right? We need to make sure that there's room in your budget. And I should have said these not to scare anybody. In this day and age, unfortunately, the cost of education is high enough that almost everybody has enough room to accommodate the scholarship. There are some of you that are receiving a lot of external scholarships, like CSF scholarships. So sometimes if you're receiving too many, it may be a little bit of a challenge. So that's why we're going to talk and see if we can do an appeal. But for the majority of you, this will not be a problem. I just want you to be aware in case it happens. Summer funding, the same thing for governors. Is we don't have extra money, but what we can do is stretch your money to include summer. Those of you that are receiving money next year for the first time cannot receive summer funding for this summer, but you can receive summer funding next summer, 2026 and on, okay? You will also be required to complete a FAFSA or WASFA, which is the financial aid application. And you will have to also meet satisfactory academic progress measures. So getting a minimum of a 2.0 GPA and, complete most of the classes that you enroll and receive financial aid for every term. Leave of absence, yes, you can take a leave of absence. You let us know and we'll hold your money for up to a year. Maybe you just need to take one term off and then come back, and maybe a year down the line, you need to take another term off. That's absolutely okay. As long as you're in communications with us, you're okay. Okay. And we have the flexibility to be flexible with you. So financial aid offices, unfortunately, are ruled by, they're under a lot more regulations than we are, but we have, in many instances, the capacity to adjust to your needs. So communicate with us and we'll go from there. Emergency funds for governors, scholars in general, not so much, but we can look at on a case-by-case basis. No guaranteed, but we can look at it. And then also, like the Leadership 1000, you have to renew your scholarship every year if you want to receive it the following year, between May 1st and June 30th. Okay? Okay, governors and leadership, you can take a little break. Don't go away, but you can take a little break. And now I want to talk to Martin Luther King Jr. scholars. I know you're on the call, so please come back. Turn the volume up again so that you can learn about your scholarship. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to start again with the yearly award. If you're attending a 2-year college, your maximum award is up to $2,000. If you're a 4-year college or university, up to $4,000. That is assuming you're enrolled full-time, so 12 credits or more. If you're taking less, we're going to adjust your award to reflect the number of credits. And to give you an example, which I haven't given so far, If your full-time award is $2,000 for the year, but you enroll part-time during the whole year, then you're going to receive half of that. Okay? That's an example for you to understand what the math looks like. The length of the award is 4 years if you're attending a 4-year college, is 2 years if you're attending a 2-year college. But you may start at a 2-year college and then decide to transfer to a 4-year college, and then you can receive the scholarship for 4 years. So you can be pursuing a 2-year or 4-year degree for the scholarship for the MLK. So it can be an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. You can stop after an associate's or continue to a bachelor's. Financial need, this is the same thing as with the other two scholarships. You need to have enough room in your budget to qualify to be able to fit the scholarship in your budget. The FAFSA and the WASFA application or WASFA is required every year, so you'll have to complete one of the two to continue to receive the scholarship. And you also will have to meet satisfactory academic progress measures. So the minimum 2.0 GPA and also receiving, you will also will need to complete all the classes, most of the classes you're enrolled and you're getting paid for, okay? And I can't emphasize enough how important it is that each one of you go look for satisfactory academic progress measures at your school, because these may change from school to school, okay? There is a federal measure, there is a state measure, and then the school can have their own measures that may be a little bit more stringent or higher than what the federal and state guidelines require. Okay, so for example, the federal guideline is a minimum 2.0 GPA, but your school may say, we need students to be meeting a 2.75 GPA, for example. I'm just making it up, but I wanted to give you an example. Can you take a leave of absence? Yes, you can. You just need to notify us so that we can place your scholarship on hold. Emergency funds on a case-by-case basis, again, not guaranteed, but you talk to us, you apply, and we'll let you know. And then you have to renew your scholarship every year between May 1st and June 30th in order to receive it the following year. Okay, I'm going to take a breather. MLK, governors, and L1000 can lower the volume. And now I'm going to call my BCU students and so that I can go over your scholarship. Thank you. So, starting with the yearly award, your yearly award is $2,500, and this is a 2-year scholarship. Okay, and it does require that you enroll full-time every term. So there is a little bit of a higher requirement in this scholarship. Now, we know that life happens. So if anything is, you're facing any difficulties, contact us. If you know you won't be able to be enrolled full time, we'll pass it on to the committee to review your petition for less than full-time enrollment, and we'll wait and see what their decision is. I will tell you that in the past, they have approved these petitions. So it's in your best interest to really appeal for an exception. Degree plans, any. So you can be pursuing a certificate program, associate's degree, 2-year program, or 4-year programs, bachelor's degree. Something that is common to all 4 programs is that this funding is just for undergraduate studies, okay? You cannot use any of these scholarships for graduate school. In terms of financial need, just like the other scholarships, the school will determine if you have financial need to accommodate the scholarship. And again, there's no extra summer funding, but we can stretch your funds for 3 or 4 terms, right, to include the summer. You are not required to complete a FAFSA or a WASFA, so this is different for BCU, right? We encourage you to do it because applying for FAFSA or WASFA is pretty much like unlocking the door to a lot of financial aid, right? Not just the scholarships we offered. So if you are in need of receiving funds, complete a FAFSA or a WASFA, whichever one applies to you, to see if the school can offer you additional financial resources. You're also required to meet satisfactory academic progress, like I explained before. Very important that you familiarize yourself with your school SAP measures to see what you have to meet in order to continue to be in good standing and receive financial aid. If you're taking a leave of absence, just let us know. It's absolutely fine to do so. And emergency funds are available for BECU students, actually. So you can apply up to twice a year and receive funds. And like all the other programs, you have to renew your scholarship every year between May 1st and June 30th. I'm sorry, I know this was a lot. But this is the best way we could do it given the short period of time we had and the few staff members that we had available today. I know that there are a lot of questions. I'm going to get to them as soon as we finish. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, so this is a question that many of you have. So how does my money get dispersed? So we send checks. Usually, there are some schools that are signed up to receive funds electronically, but most schools actually require that we mail checks to them. I'm going to show you on our website after the presentation where you can find this information, although we are going to email you and let you know. But we send checks usually a month before your term begins, okay? We send it via mail, and we send an email to the school letting them know this is the roster of all CSF scholars that are receiving a scholarship with your name, your student ID. That's why we asked you for your student ID at your institution, the name of the scholarship program, the amount, and the term, right? So that the school knows that this money is coming. We're also going to send you an email telling you, hey, Hannah, we are sending this money to your school. This is your school for this scholarship for this amount on this day. That is going to be a confirmation to you and also an opportunity for you to say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be enrolled this term, or I transfer to another institution, or whatever else you need to tell us. So it's important that you let us know before we mail the check, because if you tell us after we mail the check, we'll have to wait until the money comes back before we can issue a new check to the new institution. Okay? Funds are only disbursed through your financial aid office, so you're never going to receive a check from us at your at your mailing address. It's always through the school. The school is the one that is going to pay first if you have a balance, and if there are funds remaining, they will issue what is called a refund check to you to buy your books or to pay for any other cost of living expenses. So why may you not receive a check, right? What are some of the reasons why you may not see your money on your account? And you can see them on the slide, right? But just very briefly, some of the most common reasons is the money is at the school, but the school hasn't applied to your account because maybe we send money for you assuming you were enrolled full-time, but now you're enrolled part-time. And the school is trying to figure out if they're going to apply half of it and return the rest or what they're going to do. Okay, so that could be a reason. Other times, maybe you didn't complete the FAST for the WASPA if it's required, right? Or any requirement the school had, like for example, meeting satisfactory academic progress, right? If you're not meeting SAP, you're not going to be receiving financial aid, including our scholarships. Sometimes you didn't finish your financial aid, your scholarship renewal with us, and so we haven't sent the check. Okay, and sometimes, unfortunately, checks get lost in the mail, so that is also possible, right? So if you don't see your money on your account, contact us, contact the financial aid office to find out what happened. Okay, we talked already a little bit about emergency funds. And as I mentioned, for some programs, L1000 and BCU there are usually funds available, limited for governors and MLK on a case-by-case basis, but never guaranteed the funds. But you may have extra transportation costs, or a summer term. Summer term, I already talked about how we stretch them, but sometimes you may be able to use a little bit of extra emergency funds for summer. Just contact scholarship services. We'll give you an application for emergency funds and we'll go from there. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, now I want to share 5 things with you. Okay, 5 things that research tells us, and many of you, or those of you that walked in your shoes in the past, have told us that have shown that really helps succeed in college. Okay, and so these are the things I'm going to talk about in a minute. Getting involved on campus, and you're already connecting with each other, so you're already taking the first step. Filing your FAFSA or WASFA, which I know you have done with the support of many CSF coaches, advisors, or maybe, your high school guidance counselor. Meet with your advisor, which I already know many of you are talking about, how important that's going to be heading to fall term. Attend office hours, and I'll tell you what that is. And then early career exploration. All these are very important steps for you to take to ensure your success, right? It's a way of setting yourself to succeed. So let me tackle the first one, meeting your advisor and coach, and why this is important. So your advisor and coach act as your support system, right? Your own support system on campus or off campus at CSF. And it's especially important to engage with both of them, especially during your freshman year. They're going to give you the lay of the land. They're going to explain how things work. They're going to guide you so that you make the right decisions for yourself. As a scholarship recipient, actually, you are required to meet at least once per quarter or once per semester with your CSF coach, okay, in order to keep your scholarship. So this is a requirement of your scholarship. I know that some of you were asked to sign up for transition services. So those of you that are in high school, especially for the L1000 program, you were asked to sign up for transition services this summer. And before I talk more about the importance of these, I want to hear from you in the chat about any reservations that you may have about signing up for these services. So if any of you is brave enough to just type in the chat, why may you have hesitations about signing up, please let me know. I would like to hear from you and maybe dispel any, myths or any concerns that you may have. And while you're getting that courage out, I'm going to start talking about why this is important, right? So as I mentioned, studies have found that academic advisors play a key role in your success, right? So they help you register for classes, right? And something you need to remember is that not all classes are offered every term. And so if you have classes that are required in order to take other classes, you need to make sure that you're taking them during the term that they're being offered. Right? I remember this happened to me once. I had to take it was an English class that had a requirement, but it wasn't offered every term. And so I wasted a whole year because I didn't take it in the fall. That prerequisite was only offered in the fall. I didn't take it, and so I had to wait until my second year in order to take the prerequisite, in order to take the class I really needed. So academic advisors are great at guiding you and telling you what to take and when. Also, it's a good financial aid planning meeting with your advisor because financial aid can run out. So make sure you enroll in classes that apply to your degree before you run out of financial aid, right? And your academic counselor can guide you through that. Also, they will help you navigate processes and procedures, things like withdrawals, satisfactory academic progress that we talked about, warnings, dismissals, right? So they're a great resource of information. If you want to transfer to another school, your academic counselor will be able to tell you what classes will transfer and help you through the process of completing paperwork to do that. If you're applying for graduation, this is further down the line, right? But it will be your academic advisor that will be able to help you through this process, right? And your coaches here at CSF are also going to help you, and I'll give you some example, right? So work with you also to develop an academic and personal skills and knowledge, right? That carries over life and career, not just for college. You will work together to establish some goals and achieve them by overcoming challenges, right? Through some problem solving together, right? Problem solving strategies. Help connect with other students on campus, other resources, other clubs. All of that is something you can achieve by meeting with your coach. So what can you do? Schedule an appointment, attend drop-in hours, or email or text them, okay, to set this up. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking so much. I want to give you information, that's why. Okay, number 2, getting involved on campus. And so I think that this is one of the first keys of success to me, because feeling connected and feeling like I'm part of this new space that I walked into was so important to me. I really didn't know anyone. I had arrived in the United States 1 year prior, so I didn't know how the education system worked. I didn't know anybody on campus. I didn't know even how to register for classes. So really connecting to clubs and groups on campus were the key to my success. And as I mentioned earlier, and you know this already, most campuses offer welcome back events or orientations to kick off the academic year. This is a great time to get to know your college, their resources, so be sure to participate. Getting involved also is important to get a chance to get to know your classmates, affinity groups, right? Things that are happening on campus that can also give you great skills, right, to succeed. When I was in college, also, I remember I joined some clubs that teach me some leadership skills, some presentation skills, which is something that still to this day terrified me, but gave me the skills and the confidence to really be able to do it, right? And also learn more about my community and others and topics that I was really passionate about. Like I was really passionate about human rights, so I joined Amnesty International. And so not only was I learning about what was happening in the world, but also in my community and how we could help ensure that people were educated and knew what was happening in our community. And this was also a great way, it's a great way to start building that network that Anna and I were talking to you about, right? Meeting people that can lead to job opportunities, internship opportunities, right? Even jobs on campus that can pay you a little bit, have a little bit extra money, but also can lead into full-time jobs eventually. I remember applying for a scholarship. So when I was talking to you about starting college, when I was a new immigrant, I started attending a community college, and I applied for a scholarship. And through the scholarship application, I got offered a part-time job in the financial aid office. That's how I'm doing this work several decades later, right? So you never really know what those jobs or those connections can lead you to, but usually they're all positive. So don't miss on that opportunity. Okay, let's go to number 3, FAFSA and WASFA. So remember, FAFSA, free application for federal financial aid. WASFA, Washington application for state financial aid, are forms that unlock financial aid. So by applying, your school is going to determine what type and what amount of financial aid you may qualify for. So file as early as possible. And for those of you that have done this in the past, you know that the dates have been changing. Well, this year we're going back to the normal quote unquote October 1st deadline. So try to fill it out within the first month to ensure that you put yourself in line to receive financial aid. Remember that financial aid runs out. So you want to be, the first or one of the first to get in line to receive financial aid. So file as early as possible, attend a FAS or WASFA workshop. If you or your family need assistance or any adults, supporting adults with you, and apply for scholarships. And this point number 3, FAFSA, WASFA scholarships, is what Carrie and I can help you with. This is what we've been doing for decades. I started this work 35 years ago, so I know one or two things. And Carrie has also worked in financial aid offices like I have for many, many years. So count on us for any help with financial aid. Number 4, I promise we're almost done. Number 4 is talking with faculty. So your professors are another huge source of support. First of all, you're going to be attending some classes that maybe have 200 students. It's impossible for your faculty, your professor to get to know you or know what needs you have in a class of 200. So talking to them during their office hours or speaking up, in classes, raising your hand is going to be very important. Very important to build that communication, that relationship. Okay. I know it can be a scary thing to do, but once they get to know you, you're going to see what a wonderful and expansive experience is going to be for you. We know that there is a positive correlation between student persistence and retention and student engagement with faculty, because faculty becomes yet another person in your support system and in your circle that can really show you tricks to succeed. Maybe there are personal circumstances and you need some accommodations, or you need, for example, to take an incomplete because something has happened and you cannot take your final or your midterm, right? If your faculty member knows you and now you're coming to them after, right, developing that relationship, you come to them and explain what's happening, they're going to be much more willing to offer you flexibility than if you just show up when you need a favor. Okay, so start developing that relationship early. For example, and I know that you guys talked about this in the chat at the beginning, math was not my strong suit at all. I knew I was going to struggle. So I started attending office hours early on to get additional support and resources other than the math lab, right? And tutors on campus. So another piece of advice for you. So attend office hours, send them an email to introduce yourself, maybe first, and tell them you're going to come to office hours, and talk to them before and after class. It doesn't have to be about the subject matter necessarily. It can be something that you read in the news or that is happening on campus, just to kind of establish that rapport with your faculty members, with your professors. So build strong relationships with them. They can be also great people to ask letters of recommendation for scholarships, for graduate school, for jobs. I still have some letters of recommendations that my professors wrote to me when I was applying for grad school. And it's great to read them to see who I was like 25 years ago and how they saw me. It's a great gift to me, and I use them for scholarships, to apply for jobs, and to apply for research assistantships. So there, my advice to you. And last but not least, and this leads right into it, early career exploration. It's CSF does have alumni services. So there are some areas in Washington State that have actually alumni boards. So once you graduate, you may be able to join this alumni board and be part of, having a voice in how services are delivered to students, but also is that connection, building your network, exploring the different career opportunities to connect your academic goals with your career aspirations, right? What kind of jobs can I do with this field of study, right? So be sure to visit your college's career center, which they can provide many resources, really, including writing a resume, a cover letter, practicing interviewing skills, honing your job searching skills, identifying and really working towards your career goals that may change multiple times through your stay at your school. Don't feel bad about it. We all went through it. Or really help you, find suitable careers or graduate school programs. So what you can do, again, I just mentioned it, attend networking events also can be a little bit intimidated sometimes, but everybody that goes there feels a little bit intimidated the first time. So break the ice, attend one of these, get to know people, then you go with the same people to the networking event and you'll feel much, much better. Also, if you see internship opportunities, paid or unpaid, apply for them. Please, can excuse me, can you please mute yourselves? I know that there's somebody with their with the sorry, let me see. I need to ask you please to mute yourselves. I can't. Sorry, I'm sorry I can't mute everybody. Okay, I'm hoping that they have realized they had their microphone on and they turned it off. Apologies, everyone. Okay, well, maybe not. Okay, also try to create a profile on LinkedIn when you're ready to start doing your job search. That can be very, very helpful also to connect with others and to see opportunities. Okay, we are at the end of these. So I want to ask you, these were my tips. What are your tips to each other? What do you think we missed that we should have covered or that you have experienced? Because many of you in this call are in college already. What has worked for you that that the rest of us should know, if anything? Yeah, yeah. Okay, create study groups. That is great. Studying with others. Be brave. Yes, I know that it can be very intimidating, but it's on you to take, a school can give you so much. It's what you put in and what you take out that is going to make the difference between an okay education and a great education and experience. Meet your professors. Absolutely. Let yourself take breaks. Absolutely. Self-care is so important. It's so important, right? It's important to take time to refresh and reconnect, and you can, because it can be overwhelming. I'm sorry. I'm going to try it and see if I can find who is not unmuted so that I can mute them. But unfortunately, I can't find. I'm sorry, everyone. Call your family frequently. Yes, they can be such a great source of support, right? And sometimes, I don't know how many of you, but for me, something that was very difficult also was adjusting to a new culture, not just because I was a new immigrant, but the culture in the campus, and reconcile some of the things that, I had learned at home, right? Very different costumes and habits and expectations. So staying in touch with family and friends was a way for me to remember where I came from and trying to merge the new things I was learning with the things that my family had really inculcated in me. So it's great to stay in touch, keep your feet on the ground. Your family will do that for you. connections, communications. Yes, these are all fantastic, fantastic tips. Thank you so much for sharing. Also, the financial piece of an education can be extremely stressful. So having a good financial plan is so important. This is the number one thing you should be doing also this summer, making sure that the financial aid offer you receive from your college, it's actually a sustainable one. So make an appointment with us. We'll go over your financial aid offer with you and tell you if there are things we think you can be doing now to secure your financial aid. Okay? This is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. So I want to wrap up before I start answering questions with, just some last minute thoughts, right? I want to thank you all again for making the time to attend this event and participate so actively on the chat and the Q&A. I know that it's late in the evening and we're all kind of tired of these remote and virtual events. I hope you had fun or you have learned things about your scholarship and what CSF is here to do and support you with, and that you have learned a little bit more from each other, and that you started creating that larger network that we've been talking about, that network of support. We have about 55 schools represented in this virtual call. So just think of how much bigger your network got today. So I really urge you to all stay in contact with each other. And we hope that after today, you know more about CSF, learned about the ins and outs of your scholarship and the resources and support you can access, right? And as I bring this event to a close, I want to end with this quote. It is your accomplishments and the experiences you share that continue to drive the mission of and vision of CSF. And for that, on behalf of CSF, I want to thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to put on the screen the email address where you can reach Carrie and I, and even if you forgot to write Anna's email, you can send an email to Anna to this email address. And now let me move to the Q&A so that I can start answering some of those questions. And if you have to go and you don't have any questions, you can go. We are recording the session, so I'll send you a recording. You can listen to those questions later on. Okay, you can read them again. How can I connect with my coach? You are going to be receiving information about your coach probably in this summer. So keep an eye on your email. Please, I know that email is not something that many people do of checking regularly, but that is sort of the only way that we have to communicate with you. So check it once a week at least, okay? So that you can see important messages we're going to be sending you. How do I get things like IAP with a college? So that's an excellent question. Your coach will be able to help you with that, okay? Coaches are going to have connections to the campuses where you attend, and they will be able to guide you. But guess who else will be able to guide you with IEPs? Your academic counselor on campus. So either your college coach or your academic counselor can help you with that. How do I sign up for transitional services this summer? Send me a message, Nayeli, and I will let you know. Okay, I responded that. How do we renew the scholarship every year? Great question. So I just mentioned that it was between May 1st and June 30th. I'm going to send you a reminder in April telling you, hey, May 1st is around the corner. This is the link for you to log in, which is the same login you used to complete your application on SurveyMonkey Apply. You're going to log back in and you're going to see that the renewal form is available to you. You'll complete it and we'll process it. If I have no financial need this year, but will likely have financial need next year, can I still get the L1000 scholarship? Will this prevent me from receiving money in future years? So what we can do in this case, remember, we can place your scholarship on hold for a year, right? So we can place it on hold and wait until next year in the hopes that you have financial need next year. What is a good email to reach out to the BCU? This is the email on your screen always. Scholarship services, no matter what program, what scholarship you're receiving, scholarship services at collegesuccessfoundation.org is the email for any questions about your scholarship. So what defines full-time enrollment? So for quarter schools is 12 credits or more. For semester schools is 15 credits or more. But your school can tell you about it, okay, in their websites. What else? Yes, this is being recorded. And we'll send you the link to the recording. Will we get scholarship this fall? Yes, July 23rd. Oh, that's something I wanted to show you. Let me see. Hold on here. I want to show you where you can. So if you go to College Success Foundation, the website, you go to our approach and you go to scholarships. You can scroll down and check your scholarship and read more. And all scholarships have the same information you see here: eligibility, application timeline, a new applicant FAQ, accept, declined, end of year or renewal, and emergency funds and payment information. If you go to payment information, you are going to see when the checks are going to be sent. So you can see that for fall semester, fall quarter, the money is going out on July 23rd this year. Okay. Do the scholarship help support study abroad? Some scholarships do, some scholarships don't. Because some of them, don't have guarantee funds and they have limited funds. What else do we have here? Where do we message you about transitional services? Is scholarship services at collegesuccessfoundation.org. Okay, so that's all the questions on the Q&A. Let me go to the chat to see if I see anything there. And there is a lot, so I may not be able to answer or find all the questions here. Is there any advice on managing work and university? I haven't held a job before, and I have to do in my time at school. So, Hannah, my advice to you, as I was talking earlier, the first year can be a little bit tricky. So, but this is what you can do. Normally, the class schedules you get leave you with 2 or 3 hour gaps in between classes. What I did, I would try to get a job on campus that would allow me to work in between classes. Sorry. So school knows that your priority school and job is, something that you do, but it's not your priority. So they're going to be flexible with your schedule. They're going to be flexible during midterms and finals weeks. So try to try not to work maybe in the beginning more than 10, 15 hours a week. And I will tell you something, as scary as it can be, the thought of having to manage everything, research shows that we humans are better at managing our schedules when we have multiple activities than when you just have, class, and you go to class, you get back to your dorm and you sleep, right? Or you go play, rather than, okay, I have this much time to study because then I have to work, or I'm going to work so that then when I get off work, I can go and study. So try to pace yourself. Don't start with a 20-hour a job day. Start with a week kind of job. Start with maybe 10 hours. See how you manage everything. If you feel comfortable and you're doing well, then maybe increase it to 15. The first year, I would say, try not to work more than that, 10, 15 hours, and see how you're doing. And then you can reassess. Is there an attendance check? Yes, we're going to take the Teams actually records who logged in and not, so we'll have that. Connecting with advisor, as I mentioned, we're going to send you an email during the summer letting you know who your coach is. But you always have scholarship services to start with, so you can always email us. Work study has a limit of 19 hours a week during regular terms, and then you can work full time during the summer. What else am I seeing here? Lots of thank yous. You're so welcome. If I email my financial aid office to request that I use your scholarship for personal college expenses like books or other things, is that allowed? Emma, no. The school, what is going to do is first apply the money to any tuition or fees that other financial aid doesn't pay, and then whatever remains is going to be dispersed to you. In a way, it doesn't matter what financial aid gets dispersed to you or not. What matters is that all of your college costs are paid. So what I mean by that is tuition and fees. If you're living on campus, your dorm, right? We want to make sure that all of that gets paid first, and whatever remains, doesn't matter if it's a scholarship, it's a grant, it's a fee waiver, whatever money is there, is then dispersed to you to buy your books. What else? What else here? What else? I have applied for financial aid. I got approved, but I can't attend school full time because I have work. Yeah, of course. I was wondering if my scholarship will help with housing. Okay, so the school again is going to be making that determination how much they disperse to you based on the number of credits you're taking. You don't lose the scholarship. You just don't receive it. You don't receive it in full when you're not attending full time. Okay. How would the scholarship work if the college expects me to pay a certain amount, but the college doesn't consider them as need? That is a great question, but I would have to look at the whole financial aid award letter, your award letter, to be able to answer that accurately. I don't want to give you a standard answer that maybe is not reflective of what is going on in your situation in particular. I will tell you this. For those of you that are a little bit familiar with the FAFSA, the WASFA, and know that the results of these forms is that they issue a number that is called Student Aid Index, or SAI. That number is a number that tells the financial aid office what type of financial aid you can receive and what amount of financial aid you can receive. That number cannot be covered with financial aid unless it's an unsubsidized loan. Unsubsidized loans are loans that have an interest rate that you're responsible for from the moment that money is dispersed. You cannot use a grant or a scholarship to pay for your student aid index. So I know that it's not exactly the question you're asking, but I think that it may come somewhere along those lines. So I just going to say that just send me an email and we'll talk a little bit more in look at your particular circumstances. Is it okay to leave? Yes. If you don't have any more questions, thank you for attending, Cesar, and for engaging everybody in the beginning. It's been a pleasure to have you. How could we set up a meeting to talk? Send us an email and we'll let you know how to set up a time to meet with us. I just want to ask, if we apply for a scholarship, does that mean we can apply for another CSF scholarship while having this one? You can apply. Usually we give priority to students that don't have any scholarships, right? But if there are funds left over, you can apply for another one and see if you're selected for it. Ramon, here in the screen you can see when you can expect your first payment. It's for quarter four semester is July 23rd. 2025 is when the check is going to be put in the mail and sent to your school. The scholarship helps cover any help over tuition you have to pay, right? So usually we ask the school to cover any tuition that is left over that other financial aid doesn't cover. But if you have other sources of financial aid covering your tuition, then the scholarship will go to cover other expenses you have, like books or transportation. No problem, Ramon. It's all good. What other questions? Let me see. I'm sure I missed a lot of questions here, but let me see if I can find. Uh-huh. Mhm. Sorry, I need to go before all your recommendations you were sharing with each other. Okay. So I see that there were a lot of questions about when is my money or my scholarship going to be applied to my account. So in early July, we're going to send that email to your school letting them know, hey, Jared is receiving this amount for the year. And so each school does things differently, but in theory, the school at that point could be applying the scholarship to your account for you to see. And then on July 23rd, we're going to send that first check for fall. Then on November 15, we're going to send the second check for winter quarter or spring semester, right? And then in February of the following year, we're going to send the check for those of you that are attending quarter schools for your spring quarter term. So that's sort of how it works. As again, each school has a different way of doing things, but that is in general how it works. Let me see if there's anything else here. I think we're going to call it for today. If any of you, oh, let me see, hold on. I see there's a new question on the Q&A. How do I change schools? Send us an email in the scholarship services at collegesuccessfoundation.org and let us know what your new school is, when you're going to start at the new school, and your student ID and how many credits you're taking, and we're going to make the change for you. When is the best time to connect with a CSF advisor? Again, CSF is going to be sending an email about college coaches during the summer, and they are going to let you know how and when is the best time to connect with your coach. Okay? Any other questions? If I decide to drop, replace a course, how should I notify you? So one thing that is very important for you to know about dropping courses is that the timing of when you drop your course is very, very important because you do not want to drop during a time where you will owe a refund to your school. So for example, if on day one I receive $7,000 in financial aid to pay my 12 credits. And then on day 20, I drop half of them, half of the credits. The school will ask me to pay a portion of the financial aid that paid for my 12 credits. Now, if I drop after I completed 60% of the term, I may not owe money. So that's why we always tell you before you drop a course, please, 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 please talk to the financial aid office to ask if you are within the refund period or not. You want to know if you're going to owe money, and if you are, you want to know how much you're going to owe, right? So make sure that you make that decision to drop a course having all the other information. That's why if you have a good relationship with your professor and the financial aid office tells you, hey, if you drop this class, you're going to owe whatever amount of money, you can talk to your professor about not dropping the class, but rather taking an incomplete, which means that gives you extra time to complete your coursework, right? So now you don't owe money and you have extra time to complete the coursework. There might be more requirements, right, in order to do the incomplete that your professor will tell you. But those are the kind of things you want to find out from your financial aid office, from your professor, and from your academic advisor before you drop any classes, okay? And if you indeed, Kirti, do decide to drop a course, let us know so that we are aware, and we're going to be your biggest advocates with your financial aid office. So make sure you let us know so that we can communicate, we can make an educated advocacy on your behalf with the financial aid office, having all the information. Yes. Okay. I hope this was, for summer, do we have to email a specific person or will you remind us? It's the same email I mentioned, scholarshipservices@collegesuccessfoundation.org. I'm going to put it again in the chat. You can email us any time of the year. We're always checking the email, no matter what time of year it is. And if we're not, we're going to let you know. We are out for the day. We'll be back tomorrow, or we're out on winter break. We'll come back next week. So that is your best bet, that email address. Thank you so much again for participating. I hope this was useful to you. Let us know what was and what wasn't. And I'm going to send a recording, okay, of today's event so that you can review it at your own time, even with all these Q&A questions. So good night, everyone. You can all log off now and have a wonderful evening.